I'm back here in the farm garage looking at the baby chicks. They've been with us for a week. We have 100 Cornish cross chickens in here. Got them a week ago. They're about 10 or 11 days old. They were 4 days old when we got them, but it's been 7 days. And what I'm doing now is I'm checking on them and I'm tracking everything. So in this video, what I'm going to talk to you about is some of the changes that we made since the last video. And if you missed that one, make sure you go watch that one. It's about the brooder setup, all the things that we were thinking on, how we were going to set up the brooders, the heat lamps, some of the problems that we had with the initial setup, and now we can see some of the changes. If you come over here, we put 100 chickens in this brooder to start. They were really small when we got them, and remember, these are only about 10 or 11 days old, and they're only a week from being here with us. So if you look at them, these are Cornish cross chicks, these are meat chickens. These are about 2.5 times the size as they were last week in weight. So they grow really, really fast, and that causes some problems with them. They can get sick. They can have problems with their legs, with some of their muscles as they grow and get bigger. Right now, we're feeding them 24/7, but after 2 weeks, we'll do that for 2 weeks of them being here, so about 2.5 weeks of their age, we're gonna go to 12 hours on and 12 hours off. So what I'll do is I'll come out here at night and I'll take out the food overnight. And so they won't have anything to eat overnight for 12 hours. I'll come back in the morning and I'll put the food back in. So we started with 100 in here, but now we have 50. We moved 50 into one brooder and we left 50 here. The other thing that we changed, we talked about the heat lamps being a problem on the last video. So one thing, when we built this brooder, we didn't build it for a large enough heat lamp. I didn't have the specs on this. So our floor is actually too high. So what we did was we cut some holes, and you can see in the wire here, and we cut some holes here in the wire, and then we built a platform to hang them on so it can just kind of rotate as we open and close the door. So this hung the heat lamp up higher probably about 3 inches, which gave us enough room for the chicks to be under there, especially when it's cold this week. It's March right now, end of March, and we had some really cold weather, like 15 degrees. The other thing I talked about in the last video was we were gonna put 2 waterers and 2 feeders in each. We decided, I kind of tested it and looked at it, and it wasn't a problem. So we left 1 feeder and 1 water in each brooder here. You can see they come to get food, they come to drink water, and then they just kind of lay down and stay warm and huddle around. And it's just a constant cycle. Get food, drink water, go sit down. Get food, drink water, go sit down. It's just over and over. They were bred and designed to just get fat fast and grow. They should grow to size where we can butcher them between 7 and 8 weeks. What I'm doing now is, after 1 week, I've been tracking the food of exactly how much they've eaten. They ate just under 40 pounds of food for 100 chicks. So on the first week, they're eating about 4/10 of a pound. And I'm gonna track that all the way through, so I know exactly what these chicks are gonna cost me to raise to butcher size, so I know what my profit margins are when I sell them. I feel like a lot of farmers and a lot of people that raise these to resell, or even to keep for their family, they don't know what it actually costs them. We're talking a lot more about that on this channel. I'm gonna give some classes for local farmers, and I'm gonna break down exactly what these chickens cost me. But what I wanna do is I wanna track that all the way through their 7 or 8 week cycle, know what size they are on the back end, what percentage of losses we have, and all the numbers, and then I'll show you exactly what it looks like for us. And now for you, your food might cost different amounts of money, your electricity bill might be higher, the chicks that you buy might be cheaper, you might hatch them by yourself. There's a lot of variables, so I would recommend you track it the same way I do, and I'll show you exactly what I do each week as we go. We'll talk about the food here for a second of what we feed our chicks, and I'll pull out a bag and kind of show it to you. All right, so right here is our feed storage. So we have 3 different types of feed bags in here. They all look the same, but in the label right here, it's gonna tell us what they are. So this is layer chick feed. So this is for our chicken layers. This is 16% protein. It's going out to the feeder out in the field. And then what we have is this broiler feed, but this is a grower broiler feed. It's at 20% protein. And then this is our starter feed. So this is at 22% protein. So the starter feed, we have them on a little bit higher protein. And all this is organic, non-GMO, and no soy. So we have someone in our CSA who is allergic to soy. And so we got some soy-free food for this round of chicks for them. All certified organic. It's from Coffee, so Kentucky Organic Farm and Feed Incorporated. So this is up in Kentucky. We drive up there and we grab the feed. They also have a drop delivery here where we can put in our order ahead of time, and they'll drop it down about 20 minutes from here, which is really nice. Especially when you order this much, it can come on a pallet. So we put it in here. We have some chickens in here walking around right now, but eventually we won't be having the doors open, coming in and out of here all the time. So the chickens won't be in here getting into the food. This is what it looks like. These are 50-pound bags. So what I'm doing is I'm tracking exactly how much the bags weigh when I start and how much they weigh when I end for the week. So I know exactly how much our chicks ate. So these chickens ate 40 pounds or so, just a little bit under 40 pounds over the last 7 days. So it's easy math at 100 chicks, 4/10 of a pound. So I want to track that because I think my estimate is they'll eat somewhere between 12 and 15 pounds of food for their 8-week cycle. And then I know my chicks cost $3.25. So I can do all the math, not including my power, some of the infrastructure and things that cost the brooder, but I'm gonna lay all that out for you guys like I talked about. Let's go back to the brooder and we'll talk about some of the things that happened over this week and some of the things that you might see as you're raising meat chickens. Raising meat chickens, you're probably gonna have some losses. Last year, we were fortunate and lucky enough to only lose 2 of our 40, I think we had 43, we ended up with 41. I'm not sure what's gonna happen this year. Most of the losses that you're gonna see are gonna be early on. Our 2 losses last year were right when they came, they got mailed to us. We got mailed chicks last year and we lost them inside the first week. And it was very hot out. So when the heat is gonna change things. So this year, we got them from a local hatcher and we got 100 chicks. And so they kept them it was hatched on Monday, we got them on Friday. So the first 4 days, they kept them and they sustained the losses. So we didn't have to pay for anything that got lost. Whereas when you get them mailed to you, you might have some losses in the mail, but you can always go back to that supplier and say, hey, I lost, 10 came dead and they'll send you 10 more. That happened to us last year and they sent out, the reason why we had 43 instead of the 40 that we ordered is they sent extra on the way out and we ended up with 43. We lost 2 of those. In here, we lost 1 in the first week. So we had 1 that got lost. What we do is we just collect the dead chick and we put it in the bucket of the tractor and with all the hay mulch and we take it down to the compost pile and we compost it with everything else. That's what I would recommend that you do, depending on what your kids are like, or if you raise them, you could bury it, you could do whatever you want. But we just take it out of the compost pile and put it back into the system. Everything goes back into our system. The other thing that we have here is we have all the hay that I talked about in the first video that I did. We're putting hay under here. The floor is a screen, so all the chicken poop drops down. You can see this is 1 week. They eat a lot. I mean, they ate 40 pounds of food in the first week. It produced a lot of chicken poop. And the other thing, you'll see some clumps in here. So I have that plywood piece in there. So what I was doing is I was using like a spatula, like a paint scraper, and I was scraping that off. I did it twice in a week, and I just used a rubber glove and threw it down here. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the pitchfork and I'm gonna clean this all up and I'm gonna put all the hay and everything into the bucket of the tractor, take it down to the compost pile. If you had a tarp here, like a blue tarp or something like that, or you just let it fall on the floor, it's just gonna smell worse, I feel like. The smell in here is not bad. I don't know if it's because I've been in here for probably 2 hours, like working with them. I've been to other farms where they have just bare floor or tarps where I think the hay produces a little bit better environment and it should be able to scoop it off without like scraping it up and staining the concrete. So we didn't have any problems with heat or fire or any of that stuff that I was worried about. You can see we did reduce the amount of hay quite a bit to just have a basic individual layer of hay. And now I'll scoop it out and I have some hay right behind me where I'll throw under there to replace it. So I'm gonna scoop it out, head over to the compost pile, and you can come with me if you want. All right, so I got the dirty hay out of this one, and now I'm just putting some of the fresh hay down underneath. One thing I noticed is they were dropping quite a bit of food. That's going to be, it's pretty typical that there's going to be some food waste. It wasn't that much, I would say. It's probably less than 1/4 of a pound at that. So much better than what you would expect. I saw a lot of food waste out in the chicken tractor last year. Once they get bigger, they're really lazy and they just want to eat and eat and eat. So I'm just doing a thin layer of hay back on here, making sure it's all the way back. I don't want to spend too much time under there because the crap a lot. There we go. 1 done, 1 more to go. They just eat nonstop. Eat and lay down. So as they get bigger, one thing we might be thinking about, so what I'm thinking about from week 1 to week 2 is I may need to put another feeder in here. Just if they start fighting for food, and I may need to put a second feeder in here and a second drinker in here. So we'll see kind of just how it goes. But if that becomes an issue, and we're starting to see some problems with them. We'll probably have to put a second feeder in here, a second water like I talked about. So see how it goes this week.